Tonight, our mood up for debate is modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths. And tonight we have our OTC team proposing and our Bartica team opposing. Before we get into the debate, I would like to call Ms. Van der Stoep to lead us in a word of prayer.
Good night all. Let's bow our heads in respect to God. Almighty, gracious and heavenly Father, we thank you for breath, we thank you for strength, we thank you for all that you have done and what you will continue to do. We pray, God, that everything goes according to your plan and your purpose, and you dwell in our midst. Help the debaters to deliver fluently, and help everything to go well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Now I would like to call on Ms. Sumner, the admin for the OTC ZARA Computer Center, to introduce to you I would like to call on Ms. C. Prasad, Ms. Sumner, to introduce to you our Chief Judge for tonight's debates. Put your hands together for her as she comes.
Ms. Wilma Liverpool has been an English teacher for 16 years. Yeah, thank you. She is currently teaching at the St. Rose's High School at the 4th, 5th, and 6th form levels. She has judged numerous debating competitions and is currently a committee member and the judge for the National JOF High Hands debating competition. She has a passion for public speaking and love to see individuals display this art. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Wilma Liverpool.
Thank you, Ms. C. Prasad. And now I would like to call Ms. Sumner to introduce to you the second judge for tonight's debate, along with our members of the debating team.
ZARA's Transformational Coordinator, ASP Hanover. Subdivisional Subordinate Officer, Sergeant Hines. Administrative Sergeant of ZARA, Sergeant Williams. Honorable Judges, fellow Center admins, special invitees, good night all. I am Sophia Sumner, Center Administrative Officers Training Center, ZARA Computer Center. The privilege is mine this evening to introduce tonight's judge and OTC ZARA's debating team. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Yolanda Arokium, a Learning and Development Specialist, Project Manager, and Managing Director of Apexify Corporate Training and Consultancy. Mrs. Arokium has more than 13 years experience teaching high school, English, and literature, and has judged numerous debate competitions during this time. So she's no stranger to the stage. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Officers Training Centers, our Computer Center debating team includes Mr. Royden Seeley, our first speaker, Mr. Ashley Innes, our second speaker, and Mr. Raphael George, our third speaker, and Ms. Angelica Francis, our standby. Thank you, and I wish you all a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Ms. Sumner. Now I'd like to call the admin for Bartica ZARA Computer Center to introduce to you our third judge and our debating team members.
Good evening, all. Coordinator of ZARA Computer Center, ASP Hanover, judges, members of the media, special invitees, good evening to you all. I will be introducing Mr. Jermaine Hatton, who is a medical doctor and a university lecturer. As a medical doctor, his end goal is to see equal access to healthcare nationwide. Additionally, he also has a keen interest in politics and an undying passion for education. He is particularly interested in seeing education of those who are considered underprivileged and underserved, since he is a strong believer that education is the truest equalizer of economic inequalities and social injustices. Dr. Hatton holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Medical Technology, passed with distinction, and a Bachelor's of Medicine, Bachelor's of Surgery degree, passed with distinction from University of Guyana. In 2019, Dr. Hatton was a member of the Guyana Youth Parliament, where he was awarded the Speaker's Award for his exceptional debating skills. In 2020, he represented Guyana at the Commonwealth Youth Parliament, where he acted as chairman of the Health Committee and promoted the important conversation of COVID-19. In 2022, the University of Guyana awarded him Council of the University of Guyana Prize for the student that has made the greatest contribution to the university in other areas of university life. Dr. Hatton has been a CXC marker for a number of years, where he marks the English language, literature, and communication studies examinations. He is currently lecturing in the School of Medicine, University of Guyana, in the areas of chemical pathology and academic writing. Outside of academia, he enjoys a hot plate of chicken curry, traveling, and sightseeing. Ladies and gentlemen all, Dr. Jermaine Hatton. Now I would like to introduce to you the members of Team Bartica. My first speaker is Ms. Shalana Marslow. My second speaker is Ms. Kimberly Chase. And my third speaker is Ms. Sienna Passad. I have my wonderful, beautiful sub, who is Ms. Alyssa Holder. Thank you. Good luck to you both.
Thank you, Ms. Crossman. Before we get into tonight's debate, I'd like to remind both teams of the rules. The first speaker for both teams will be given 8 minutes each to present their arguments. Second speakers, 6 minutes each. The third speaker, 5 minutes each. You will be given a 10 minutes to prepare your rebuttals, after which the first speaker of each team will be given a 5 minutes to present same. The timekeeper will ring the bell to signal you when to begin, and once again to notify you when you have 1 minute remaining, like the Digicel operator. And twice when your time has expired. Without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker of the proposing team to present his arguments.
Distinguished and learned judges, members of the opposition, patient type people, special invitees and guests, good night. Tonight, it is a pleasure to be again in the exceptional presence of such wonderful people, as my team adamantly supports the motto, and I quote, "Modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths," end of quote. I am your first speaker, Roy Denseely, tasked with defining the apocryphal context of such a carefully constructed moot. I will provide evidence to exonerate its true personification. My second speaker, Ashley Innes, will fortify our arguments by providing statistical analysis juxtaposing that modern technology has influenced the behavior of youth. My third speaker, Mr. George, will marinate and serve more indicative facts that will satisfy your appetites for the truth. Honorable judges, this moot highlights the significance of the truth, but the opposition which wishes to debunk that truth, they would only prove the latter. Honorable judges, definitions aided by Merriam-Webster's Universal Encyclopedia, Oxford Dictionary, DexNotes.com, and Wikipedia says that modern is relating to present as opposed to the past. Technology is machines and equipment used and designed by scientific methods. Negative is a way that is not desirable or optimistic. affected is influenced by some influenced or touched by some external factors. Behavior is the way in which someone behaves, especially in relation to others or the environment. And finally, youth is the period of childhood, period between childhood and adult age. The MOOT restated according to its wording now reads relating to present time machines and equipment developed from scientific knowledge has, in a way that is not desirable, influenced by an external force, the way in which someone responds or acts with people between the ages of childhood and adults. We are not saying that there are not other contributing factors that affects the behavior of youths, like social and psychological problems, influences in the secondary school. We are saying that modern technology is a contributing factor of the same. The unattainable burden of proof lies with the opposition to show that modern technology and all its implementations and reaches and transcended use has not, and unbelievably has never influenced the behavior of youth. Law and judges, this MOOT highlights 3 variables: the individual, that is the object of influence, the influencer, or the information that causes that influence, and modern technology, which is the perfect catalyst and a medium to impose that influence. Herbert Kellman, Harvard University sociologist and behavioral psychologist, said in his 1958 works, Theory of Influence, and I quote, "Social influence talks about how people are more likely to do whatever they hear or see." End of quote. He states that people have a tendency to change their actions and behavior based on the people around them. However, in the absence of those people, technology takes its place. He further explained that 3 stages of this implementation. 1 is caused by identification, where an individual associated themselves with an individual or a group because of that influence, like Facebook, WhatsApp, or YouTube. They ask you to subscribe and or like if you like our content or share with a friend. Internalization, where you think that the perceived information is causing you to change, and you would have adopted in accordance. Now, that happens where an individual would have gotten certain information that they think is credible. Oh, do this and you will get slim. Oh, do that and you will be able to win the favor. Drive this car and you will be able to get this girl. That is the influence caused by the technology. Further, he said that compliance is when the individual totally accepts that fact and then to reap some reward from that intention, to say that if you subscribe to my channel and I get 5,000 subscribers, I will drink this entire bottle of bleach. Honorable judges, modern technology is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. By a show of hands, who has a mobile device and access to the internet? However, please don't. Anyway, it is not you alone, because statistical.com and on the 3rd of April, an online preview said that 95% of the youth between the ages of 12 and 17 have access to the internet and our smart devices, televisions, and tablets. However, this is not the influence that we are talking about. That influence occurs with excessive use of the device, and overwhelming use of the said device, and the harmful and potential damages of the content that is being viewed by the individual. That was again fortified by Nancy Drew, who is a social software designer and for internet content. She states that harmful internet content can potentially cause an individual to stray down the wrong path or do something that is adverse to their normal likeness, if you would like to use that word. However, she is saying that modern technology has provided an avenue for a person to excessively spend time alone as an introvert, pulling themselves away from their family. In a household that is constantly on their phone, the parent cannot further instill disciplinary values. And if she does so, or even takes the device away from the individual, might be met with harsh words or some rebuttal in the form of violence. The police now gets involved in that aspect. This is another negative act or action on behalf of technology. An article published in NBC News on the 9th of January 2018 about a 12-year-old girl who committed suicide because she was being cyber bullied by a person who was supposedly her friend. When investigators dug deep They ran records of phone and tablets and found that the individual was engaged in a conversation with the friend where she would have posted personal information that she critically had and said that the individual was involved in sexual acts and would have in like of a better word, transacted a sexually transmitted disease. This put that child into an emotional state and caused her to commit suicide. Furthermore, the next person that was involved in such a matter, he would have told her, quote unquote, if you're going to kill yourself, kill yourself. And she did. She went into her closet and took a dog leash, tied it on her neck, and committed suicide. Honorable judges, we bring that home to right here in the University of Guyana, where a student would have exemptedly or expressively expressed for the racism by making a post of a $5,000 bill on the ground. He used technology to identify persons of African descent who would have potentially picked up that $5,000 bill. That was not the alarming thing. The alarming thing was the response that he got from the other faculty members and the campus members. They had wanted to act out in violence and potentially hurt that individual. He was given an opportunity to apologize. However, in his apology, it did not change the mindset of the persons who already viewed that information. They had wanted to respond in violence towards that person. We are not saying that modern technology has not helped or aided in any way. We are saying that modern technology is a catalyst. It is a catalyst. It is an avenue that potentially causes an individual to change in their behavior. In this, we say and we repeat that modern technology is a catalyst that causes an individual to change their behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge. I would now like to call the first speaker from the opposing team, to present her argument.
Honorable judges, special invitees, members of the proposition, teammates, learned members of the audience, a pleasant evening to you all. I am Shalana Marslow, and I am here to present our argument on the moot, I quote, modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths. Tonight, we are here to oppose this moot. With me tonight is my second speaker, Ms. Kimberly Chase, who will further advance our arguments by informing you of the new learning cultures developed by modern technology and the health benefits that can be derived from same. My third speaker, Ms. Sienna Passad, will drive the final nail into the coffin for the proposing team by enlightening you all about how modern technology has given youths the opportunity to be far more assertive and creative than we have ever seen before. Members of the audience, allow me to redefine the mood for you as by putting the key terms into layman's terms. According to the Cambridge Online Dictionary, and I quote, modern means designed and made using the most recent ideas and methods. Technology refers to the use of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. Negatively is in a way that is bad or hurtful. Affected means influenced or touched by an external factor. Behavior refers to the way in which someone or something operates or functions, and youths can be defined as the persons who are in the state of being young. End of quote. That said, we stand our ground tonight in disagreeing that scientific knowledge derived using the most recent ideas and methods has influenced our young people to operate or function in a bad way. You tell me, members of the proposition, how this can possibly be when you yourselves and your colleagues, most of whom are youths being recruited by the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Defense Force, have benefited tremendously from modern technology. As a matter of fact, the very recruitment announcement and application process are done using, you got that right, modern technology. Further, the Guyana Police Force has recently been making headways in cracking criminal cases, some of which have been called for a number of years by using DNA testing and fingerprinting technology, all of which could only be done using, guess what? Modern technology. This was 100% evident in solving the murder case of Babita Sarju, the poor mother of one who went missing on November 4, 2010. 6 years later, the case was cracked when law enforcement and forensic officers found the skeletal remains suspected to be that of Ms. Sarju and would later confirm her identity using DNA sampling and testing. Today, we are all elated to know that the two perpetrators are facing the full brunt of the law, having been sentenced to 39 years collectively for the murder of Ms. Sarju. I am positive that you are hopeful that this same cutting-edge technology can be used to solve the case of your very colleague who went missing on June 19, 2020 and was supposedly found buried in a shallow grave on April 19, 2023. Are you saying, therefore, that you are agreeing that the very foundation on which the entire discipline services is being built is bad for our young people? I certainly hope not, for your sake and for the sake of our entire nation. Hasn't the introduction of modern technology and artificial intelligence benefited the force tremendously in improving its problem-solving skills? If it can do it for the force, it can do it for our youths. With the use of modern equipment such as robotic technology and drones, problems can be solved literally with the click of a finger. Mobile wallets and online banking allow bankers to do their business without having large sums of cash on their person, making them less vulnerable to the not working millionaires. Even your cell phones, members of the proposition, greatly improve communication and the way in which you solve everyday problems. Don't you agree with me? Of course you do. Further, youths who are highly engaged with modern technology can also develop social skills which might have otherwise been lacking in the past. While this is true for the majority of our youths, I wish to focus my attention on those persons who exhibit some form of disability, be it mental, physical, or psychological. These youngsters now have a greater opportunity of inclusivity, which was less available to them when modern technology was not so popular. They now have access to all the necessities of life, such as making new friends, interacting daily with others, attending colleges and university, participating in sports, and even shopping, thanks to online stores such as Amazon, which literally allow you to put things into a shopping cart virtually. This is heavily backed by a research carried out by Autumn Singer Califano titled The Use of Technology in Enhancing Social Skills, where she concluded, and I quote, "Modern technology presents a new venue for teaching social skills because emerging evidence indicates that media may be one of the key forces contributing to how young viewers' beliefs and behaviors are shaped." End of quote. In concluding, I know that you will want to try to convince us that modern technology, more so social media, leads to an increase of depression in youths. But let me put a stop in to you once and for all. Psychology makes provision for this as a normal stage of psychosocial development. This was proposed by the world-renowned development psychologist Erik Erikson, famous and respected for his theory of psychosocial development, in which he identifies 8 stages, the fifth of which posits that youngsters between the ages of 12 and 18 go through an identity crisis, sometimes falling into depression and isolation while they maneuver the transition from childhood to adulthood. In addition, Erickson posits, and I quote, "In response to role confusion and identity crisis, an adolescent may begin to experiment with different lifestyles, and pressuring someone into a specific identity can result in rebellion in the form of establishing a negative identity, and by extension, feelings of unhappiness," end of quote. So you see, these supposed anxiety and depression cases that we seem to believe are being caused by the use of modern technology have in fact existed since the heydays of Erik Erikson, long before technology was even introduced. So, as I take my leave, I want you all to take into consideration that while the proposition sits here in denial and clearly misinformed, I know that we are all eager to leave this room to use modern technology to be updated on what we have missed over the last hour or so. Did somebody say Melly Mel? I rest my case and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief Judge. I would now like to call the second speaker of the proposing team to present his argument.
Esteemed judges, worthy opposition, guests at large, good evening. I, the second speaker of the proposition, am tasked with strengthening my first speaker's argument and to bring enlightenment of some effects of modern technology on youth psyche. Tonight, let us allow logical thinking to prevail. For anyone who is not clear, permit me to define the word logical. According to the Oxford Dictionary, logical means seeming natural, reasonable, or sensible. The Merriman's Dictionary also used the words analytical and deductive to define the word logical. Logic is what we will use to prove tonight's moot, and I quote, "Modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths," end quote, and logical thinking is all we require of everyone present tonight. Technology is here to stay. A reasonable statement, wouldn't you say? But technology is always evolving and expanding. As each new technology enters the scene, it has the potential to improve lives. But in some cases, it also has the potential to negatively affect physical and mental health. Please, judges and audience, feel free to stop me if I stray from the path of logic. These technological advancements have done wonders in the world. Communication is better than ever, with so many different ways to communicate in a matter of seconds. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got WhatsApp, we got Instagram, Snapchat, etc. Telephones, more so smartphones, have put information sharing, gathering, and retrieval at our fingertips. We, the proposition, are not trying to negate that technology has been a source of positivity and convenience. That, avid listeners, would be an insult to your intelligence and would contradict logic. We are here to simply show that modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths. Now, the very people that created these modern technologies, who understand what was and is required to make modern technology so popular with humans, and more specifically the youths, have alluded to this. They have recognized the negative impact modern technology has had on our youths, but I will leave that delicious piece of irony for my third speaker. Let me tell you what the experts say. An extract from the journal titled Dialogues in Clinical Neuroscience, published in 2020 by Department of Psychiatry and Biobehavioral Science and Semel Institute for Neuroscience and Human Behavior, the UCLA Longevity Center, by 8 medical doctors, most of whom hold PhD in neuroscience or psychology, stated, and I quote, "A 2014 meta-analysis indicated a correlation between media use and attention problems. A recent survey of adolescents without symptoms of ADHD at the start of the study indicated a significant association between more frequent use of digital media and symptoms of ADHD after 24 months of follow-up. Although most of the research linking technology use and ADHD symptoms has involved children and adolescents, This association has been identified in people at any age. End of quote. These brilliant minds also conducted a study on 51 school children who spent 5 days at an overnight camp with no TV, no computer, no smartphone, and compared them with 54 school-based children who continued their regular social media usage, which is 4 hours per day. This was done to assess their ability to recognize emotions from photographs or facial expressions and videotape scenes of social interactions without verbal cues. After 5 days, the nature camp students who didn't have any screens demonstrated significantly better recognition of nonverbal, emotional, and social cues than participants who continued their usual daily screen time. These findings suggest that time away from screen-based media and digital communication tools improves both emotional and social intelligence. Porn addiction, a newly emergent psychological affliction that results directly from the open access that modern technology has afforded the youth of today. This leads to youths wanting to start their sex life much earlier, some trying what they see, even the violent stuff, and it can confuse sexuality because some of the different categories that they get to view freely. It is well documented that addiction can send your emotional danger sensing circuits into overdrive, making you feel anxious and stressed when you're not engaging in the substance or activity linked to your addiction. Social isolation was another negative impact found in the same clinical research. Using 1,787 youths, it was found that using social media 2 or more hours each day doubled the odds of perceived social isolation compared with use less than 30 minutes a day. This clinical research has given clear understanding and statistical evidence on how modern technology has negatively influenced the behavior of youths. Our task tonight is to prove this. If we examine the mood grammatically, then we can safely say it did not require us to show that all modern technology has negatively influenced the behavior of youths. It did not require us to show that modern technology has only negatively influenced the behavior of youths. So wise judges and attentive audience, it is only our task to prove that in some way, in any way, modern technology has negatively influenced the behavior of youths. And we have given hard evidence of such. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Now I'd like to invite the second speaker of the opposing team to present her argument.
Good evening, respected judges, my worthy opponents, colleagues of the opposition and audience. I, Kimberly Chase, second speaker of the opposition, stand to radiate forth my views against the moot, and I quote, modern technology has negatively affected the behavior in youths, end quote. The term work smarter, not harder, was originated back in the 1930s by a civil engineer, Alan Morgenstern. He was the creator of the work simplification program. Imagine I am living in Guyana and I don't have a visa to go to the US, but with a headset, a computer, and internet, I can provide services to someone living in the US. Thank you for calling Straight Talk Wireless. My name is Kimberly. How may I assist you today? Companies like Qualcomm proves that modern technology bridges the communication gap. This is what modern technology means to us. It is extremely impossible to imagine life without the many gadgets that helps us to achieve the work smarter, not harder status. Let's take a look at our new learning culture. And by that, I am referring to online education. Our young people are no longer bound by distance, financial constraints, work or family obligation, and the dreary physical classroom. The classroom method of learning is limited as it is governed entirely by outdated policies and at the speed of a small handful of employees. But when modern technology is added to the learning environment, it provides a faster and more reliable plethora of resources. I am sure our dear Minister of Education, Honorable Priya Manik-Chan, would agree with me here, since they have embarked on a journey to distribute tablets to all nursery schools. This means that our young people no longer have to wait until they enter secondary school to be exposed to information technology. as they are being taught at an early age. Whether or not you wish to acknowledge members of the proposition, modern technology is the future. My dear members, with such a remarkable strategy, tell me, why do you think our education system has turned to introducing technology at such an early age? Anyone? No? It is safe to say that it is clearly not because they think that it will negatively affect their behavior. According to an article by the ZARA Center published on March 29, 2017, and written by Joshua Isri, and I quote, "Behavior problems should be thought of as a signal that there is something else wrong in the child's life. The behavior itself is rarely the actual problem, but usually the product of something else," end quote. By virtue of this argument, modern technology is not the cause of negative behavior in youths. You know, you make the picnic, but you don't make it mine? All right. Negative behavior in youths are partially caused from the stress in their family and social life, their cognitive and skill limitations, which both can be remedied by modern technology. Youths can access platforms where they can exercise freedom of expression and connect with persons near and far who can provide the necessary support. And with the abundance of resources available and accessible, youths can learn new skills offered by our very own ZARA Computer Centers. Surely, members of the proposition, I know you are not insinuating that the programs offered by ZARA, dependent on modern technology, is negatively affecting the behaviors in youths like myself and you guys, yes, negatively. Modern technology has affected our health. This is evident in the new developments, treatments, and advances in patient care. Medical imaging technology has enabled doctors to diagnose diseases and conditions more accurately. The advancement of technology has led to new medical devices such as pacemakers and prosthetics, which provides a better quality of life. Now, this is how modern technology has affected our health, and the effects of it can be seen at the Cancer Institute of Guyana after they receive advanced technological equipment, where the Minister of Health, Honorable Dr. Frank Anthony, said in an article, and I quote, "Our cancer registry, which we have developed some time ago, many times the classification of these specimens are not done properly. So this is going to change the way that we make this diagnosis," end quote. It can also be seen at our very own Bartica Hospital, which now has an operational CT scanner, saving environs thousands of dollars, but most importantly, their lives, because they no longer have to travel to access proper health care. And lastly, it can be seen at the recently commissioned Sheriff General Hospital, which boasts, and I quote, "It provides patients with affordable health care, utilizing the most cutting-edge technology, which is essential in the delivery of quality patient care," end quote. Permit me to add emphasis on cutting-edge technology and the word essential. So what have we gathered here? Our education systems are evolving technologically, bridging the social and skill limitation gaps. There is a newfound hope for a better quality of life because of the impact technology has on our healthcare system, with the introduction of brain and LASIK surgery, to name a few. And most importantly, modern technology does not contribute to the negative behavior in youths. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge. I will now like to invite the third speaker of the proposing team to present his argument.
Honorable judges, members of the opposition, audience at large, good night. My first and second speaker have delved into the deep waters of the physical and psychological influence of technology. Tonight, I will secure those arguments with some interesting facts, but before I go further, let us ponder on some of the words from the great Albert Einstein. This scientist said, and I quote, "It has become appalling obvious that technology has exceeded our humanity," end of quote. Humans are relentless, We literally don't stop. We strive to improve everything. We live by the saying, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. The problem with this human trait and even this popular saying is that it is unbiased to good and evil. They are humans trying to be the best at white-collar crimes, illegal drugs trade, cybercrime, and even murder. And there are numerous documented cases of modern technology influencing these disturbing behaviors. Criminal Typologies, a journal by Sage Publication, a global academic publisher, covered the following story. Life is like a video game. Everybody got to die sometime, said the 18-year-old Devin Moore to police after he was apprehended for fatally gunning down 2 police officers and an emergency 911 dispatcher. Later, at trial, it was revealed that he was a compulsive, violent video game player. Moore's defense attorney argued that he was not guilty by reason of insanity and that he had not touched with reality, but was acting out in real life the virtual violence in Grand Theft Auto. The top 6 unforgettable cyberbullying case ever. Ryan Hilgen case. In the summer of 2003, Ryan thought that he had struck a friendship with a pretty popular girl through an instant messenger. It was later revealed that this young lady only pretended to like him so she could get embarrassing personal stories and share among her friends using Messenger. On October 7, 2003, Ryan hung himself in the family bathroom. After his death, Ryan's dad discovered a folder with IM exchanges throughout that summer that made him realize that technology was being utilized as a weapon far more effective and reaching than the simple ones we had as kids. Cyberbullying case of Jessica Logan. Jessica Logan was 18-year-old, a Sycamore High School senior who sent a nude photo of herself to her boyfriend. That photo was sent to hundreds of teenagers in at least 7 area high school after the couple broke up. The cyberbullying continued through Facebook, MySpace, text message. Jessica hanged herself after attending the funeral of another boy who committed suicide. Mayo Clinic also concluded a study called Tween and Teen Health. In February 2022, revealed from a 2019 study of more than 6,500 12 to 15-year-olds in the US, that those who spent more than 3 hours a day using social media might be at high risk mental health problem. Another 2019 study of more than 12,000 13 to 16-year-old in England found that using social media more than 3 times a day predict poor mental health and well-being in teens. The Guardian published an article called Screen Times versus Playtime in May of 2015, reporting on an exchange between the technology journalist and Steve Jobs, where the journalist suggested that Steve Jobs' children must have loved the recently released iPad, which Steve Jobs said, and I quote, "They haven't used it. We limit how much technology our kids use at home." Snapchat co-founder and CEO Evan Spiegel limits his children's screen time to 1.5 hours a week, according to an article published by Business Insider in March of 2020 called "The 6 Tech Executive Who Raised Their Kids Tech-Free or Seriously Limit Their Screen Time." The 6 Tech Executive. We have only named 2. Distinguished judges, members of the audience, modern technology inevitably, hence, the very reason these moguls limit their children's technology use and not complete prohibit. They understand modern technology can negatively affect their behaviors of youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Now I'll invite the third speaker of the opposing team to present her argument.
Esteemed judges, members of the proposition, audience, all. I, Sienna Pasad, the final speaker of the opposition, has nails and surely my hammer for this debate. We are vehemently opposing the mood that modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths. I concur with my teammates as we have outlined speech and language development, problem-solving skills, development of social skills, and security. In the traditional society, the ways of doing things are rigid, ritual even endowed with the quality of being sacred. However, technology is part of a self-perpetuating continuum beyond the reach of critical assessment and provides an avenue for innovation which is essentially in today's society. The abbreviated Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, STEM, is one of the most recent innovative approaches to learning. The rapid advances in technology are changing the way youths learn, connect, and interact every day. Skills developed by youths through the STEM program give them fundamental and functions to succeed at school and beyond. These key skills include problem solving, creativity, critical analysis, teamwork, communication, digital literacy, and so much more. Our STEM Guyana Award dates back to 2019. The robotics team won the Albert Einstein Gold Medal for Excellence at the first global robotics competition in Dubai. How did this happen, members of the proposition? Through modern technology. In 2021, two of Guyana's best, Bradley Downer and Stephanie Simon, were nominated for international awards. Downer was nominated as Educator of the Year, while Simon was nominated as Technologist of the Year as part of a US-based company's STEM Media Networks program. Downer has noted, and I quote, "STEM is more than what people believe." He mentioned medicine, artificial intelligence, geology, and virology, end quote. He has been able to collaborate with persons in Libya and South Africa. The Read Guyana Challenge through the Ministry of Education is designed to reignite our love for reading and build a sustainable nation of readers. The content for this challenge that is going on right now is available, but not limited to, the Guyana Learning Channel, Ministry of Education, the National Center of Education Research Development websites, and the Ministry of Education's Facebook page. We can now talk about STEAM, the National Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics Fair, which was held after a 5-year hiatus with 177 schools participating in April 2023. According to a student at Abram Zoo on the Essequibo Coast, Ms. Ganesha Ramkilawan, and I quote, "Our project is based on removing carbon dioxide from the air and converting it into dry ice. When we remove it from the air, it doesn't add to pollution, and we are creating something that could give us profit," end quote. We are hearing our youth. This article was taken from the Department of Information website, Modern Technology, that is nationally reputable and responsible for delivering credible stories on current news nationally. Communication also helps to integrate youth's awareness of the importance of health. Media such as radio, television, and social media share information on health awareness and observances daily, and was the only reliable communication during the COVID-19 pandemic. Imagine me writing a letter to my Auntie Ingrid in the USA for foodstuff and foreign sweetie and sneakers for Christmas. A letter takes 6 weeks, 6 weeks by post. Why would I inconvenience myself when Auntie Ingrid would have already sent me a smartphone to video chat? Got to love modern technology. Auntie Ingrid looking out for her favorite niece. Through the use of phones and internet application, youths are able to communicate efficiently and effectively in a controlled environment through the use of parental controls and online learning monitored by teachers. Due to the technological advancements, youths nowadays are able to find ebooks, online dictionaries, scholars' journals. In making their research easier, our generation runs on modern technology. The Cybercrime Act, which was passed in 2018 in Guyana, contains substantive provisions for illegal access, illegal interception, data and computer interference, misuse of devices, computer-related forgery, fraud, and it's followed by offenses. All of this to prevent cyberbullying and other criminal activities. The laws of Guyana work. This law is no different. Why do I say this? Didn't Teresa get the last laugh? Let me quote a Danish poet, Soren Kierkegaard. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to accept what is true. What is true about modern technology is that it has undoubtedly enhanced our lives. Even families use modern technology to entertain and bond through gaming, Netflix and YouTube, to name a few. Families bond, controlled environment. My learned audience, I leave these words with you. This time, na long time. And if you, the proposition, truly believe that modern technology is not for you, start writing your letters to my Auntie Ingrid for help. Thank you.
The debating teams will now be given 10 minutes to prepare their rebuttals. Thank you, timekeeper. I will now invite the first speaker of the opposing team to present her rebuttal.
Esteemed judges, special invitees, humble members of the proposition, teammates, members of the audience, once again a pleasant night to you. I must say that at this point in time, and given the circumstances, I would not like to be on the proposing side of this argument. It is clear that the members of the proposition have been regrettably misinformed and misled in researching their points, which they would have presented to us tonight. Firstly, we wish to say pellucidly that in putting forward their argument, the proposition was clearly misinformed about the term behavior and has chosen to look at it from a mannerism point of view as compared to our holistic view of behavior. As a matter of fact, their first speaker in Redividing the Mood used the word behave to define behavior. Kindly make that make sense for me. So, we have chosen to look at behavior as the way someone functions or operates. So, we have taken a holistic view, not only about how youths behave, but also about how they function, whether it be at school, whether it be at work, in the home, whether it's their physical health, their mental health. We have chosen to look at it from that perspective. Secondly, I wish to point out their misunderstanding of the term modern technology, since they seem to have centralized their argument around social media. Might I say, social media is modern technology, but modern technology is not necessarily social media. Modern technology can instead be generalized to any scientific knowledge used for practical purposes. This includes robotic technology, drones, online banking, DNA technology, and the list goes on. This, my learned members of the audience, is what we have based our argument on. And I am sure that you would agree that the benefits of this equipment far outweigh the dangers of them. As a matter of fact, all three speakers of the proposition have agreed with us repeatedly that modern technology does positively affect behavior. I wish to address the second speaker who talked about the addiction to devices. Are we sure that these addictions can measure up to the addictions such as drug and alcohol addictions, which youths are exposed to on the streets? I know I'd feel a lot more comfortable knowing that my child is locked in his or her room playing Roblox or Minecraft, which I might say opens an avenue for them to be very creative rather than dealing or doing drugs on the street. I also wish to address the health problems that were listed by the proposition. But I want to say to you tonight that health problems have existed long before technology even existed. But now, because of the introduction of modern technology, we are able to address these problems and offer life-saving and life-changing options and solutions. We have also heard from the proposition about the dangers of social media. Social media again, but I want to say to you that browsing online can be dangerous, yes. We don't disagree. But walking in the streets, playing in the fields, or even sitting in a classroom can prove far more dangerous and sadly, sometimes fatal. Thankfully, there are software in the form of simple applications which can allow a parent or guardian to monitor what their children are exposed to and even report and have dangerous websites completely removed from the internet. This also applies to cyberbullying, which also has apps that can be used to curb cyberbullying. As I conclude tonight, I want to say that all of you on the proposing team recognize the negative impacts, but it is clearly outweighed by the positives, which we would logically conclude that the negatives are a small price to pay. Have a wonderful evening all.
Thank you, Chief Judge. I will now invite the first speaker of the proposing team to present his rebuttal.
Honorable judges, members of the opposition, I would like to remind the opposition of the moot according to its wording. It states modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youths. And since a key word in that definition, a key word in that moot is behavior, more focus should be based on the behavior of youth and how they are affected by technology. The first speaker went on as if it was a commercial based on the different types of technology. Pocket, wallets, and all these kind of useful technologies. We do acknowledge that these technologies exist. However, she would have failed to identify not one case where it would not have negatively affected the youth as so identified by my team. She went on and mentioned the Guyana Police Force as a technologically using force. We also accept this fact, but that use of technology does not conform with the Guyana Police Force. It has been in existence for over 170 some years. It was built not on technology as quoted by the first speaker, but it was built on the ranks doing the work of protection and service. She would have also mentioned that persons that suffer illnesses would have been vulnerable, not vulnerable, they would have had more access to the internet. But this is also a downfall, because if a disabled person has access to the internet, the world can also know they're disabled. They would also suffer scrutiny at the hands of other persons who would want to persecute them and tell them ill-minded things, like mentioned by the ADHD situation with my second speaker. Now, the second speaker of the opposition would have mentioned that modern technology has various other uses, again straying away from the moot. The moot should be based on the behavior and how it affects the behavior of young people. She identifies all kind of platforms used with technology. However, she did not insist that these technology or these technological devices cannot be used in a harmful way. The third speaker dynamically identified that the STEM program and all these kind of things are beneficial. We also accept that these things are beneficial by the youth, but it does not rule out the fact that it can also be used for dangerous or disadvantages. As a matter of fact, the STEM program focuses on a particular set of youths that has a passion for cybernetics or robotics. But what about the other people that are engrossed with technology? What about all the other people around the world that have access to technology? And because they have that access to technology, they are also vulnerable and can potentially use it for harmful purposes. The situation, like she would have mentioned, the implementation of cybercrime. Cybercrime is implemented for that very purpose, to protect persons from harmful online content and other persons ridiculing and using harsh discriminatory words and actions towards that individual. Teresa is the perfect example of this. She was charged for cybercrime. Honorable judges, we wish to continue and remind the opposition that the moot states, again, modern technology has negatively affected the behavior of youth. And it has. We have given enough evidence to prove that it has. We are not straying away from the fact that there aren't other contributing factors. All these things highlighted by the opposition are true, but they fail to highlight that it does not have any negative effects. And on this, I rest my case.
I will now like to call our Chief Judge, Ms. Wyoma Liverpool, to give her remarks on tonight's debate, and of course announce tonight's winner. Let's put our hands together as she comes.
All protocols observed. Good evening, all. I'm sure you would agree with me that tonight's debate was quite riveting. What do you think? Yes, it was very competitive. As I was sitting there, I was telling Jermaine that in all my years of judging debates, I think this was by far the most interesting debate that I've ever witnessed. And I must commend the debaters for this. Yes. It was very good. There were hardly any negative things for us to say, except for one. I think the debater should have zeroed in more on youths. I think some debaters failed to address youths. They generalized. Remember, youth was the important thing in the moot. But on a positive note, there was excellent use of examples by both teams. Good use of statistical data. And one other thing on the negative side, there was too much reading by some debaters. But we have decided on the best speaker for this evening's debate, and this was a unanimous decision. And we have decided on the second speaker of the what? Of the opposition. Yes. Yes, the second speaker, she was one with her speech. She was confident, she was fluent, and she felt we felt as though she believed what she was saying. And that was very, very important. As a debater, the judges must know that you are convinced by your speech. If you are not convinced, we will not be convinced. So that is very important. Anyhow, we have made our decision. By the way, this was not unanimous. So that is to tell you that indeed it was competitive. One team scored a total of 237 points. Yes. And the other team scored a total of 249 points. The winner of tonight's debate is Barticum. Yes, the opposing team.
Congratulations to the winning team. Congratulations to the other team. You both did well tonight, in my opinion. I would now like to call the coordinator of the Guyana Police Force ZARA Computer Center to give his remarks on tonight's debate.
All protocols been observed. Tonight I am indeed elated to have been at the center of this debating competition and to have been here from the start. I am also happy that our team was able to pull off such a debate. I can tell you up front that at the initial stage, this is not the level of competition that we had bargained for. We initially wanted to involve members of the community to come in to a police environment and to be able to interface with police and to be able to socialize with police so that they can get a different perspective on who police are. Most of the times on social media, we would see negative things about police, but we want them to have a hands-on experience on the positives that police bring to the table. I'm confident that so far we are at almost the final stage of the competition, and so far we have created that relationship. We have built on the relationship that we already have in police interacting with members of the public. We have a clear cut here tonight, a clear case of a civilian team and an almost police team. So there we see police and civilians working together. On this team, we have a civilian to the end and 2 police, and we can see that they have been harmonizing, they have been cooperating. So after this competition, if we are not sure of anything else, we are sure that one member of the community, that member, is now friends with some police. So for that, give them a round of applause. Also, I would like to applaud our judges for a splendid job coming up in the debate. I anticipated that Bartica would have been here tonight. Early up, it was difficult to see who would have been facing Bartica. OTC have proved to be one of the best teams to meet Bartica in the semifinals. Tonight, both teams have shown their utmost, and we cannot take anything away from either teams. As the judges said, it was a split decision, meaning one judge scored it this side, one judge scored it that side, and our chief judge had the job of her life to make sense out of it all. I sat there, I was impressed with both teams. However, we must have a winner, and we must have the team that is right behind the winning team. In this case, OTC, you have felt what it feels like to win, and sadly tonight you are experiencing a different feeling. Bartica, do not be carried away with the winning feeling. You still have more work to do. The final is no joke. Merely the word final says that the best is there to be faced. So far we have 2 excellent teams in the finals. I can assure you it's going to be epic. I don't want to say too much because I will have to give a closing remark for the finals. So I don't want to have to stand there and don't have anything to say. So all in all, I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I would like to thank the 2 teams, the 2 center administrators for putting in the work. You guys have worked tirelessly. I was not there. I could not have seen you work, but from your team's performance, it shows. So I want to give the 2 center administrators a round of applause. Apart from that, I would like to make a public announcement that the finals for the Guyana Police Force ZARA Computer Center debating competition will be held on the 23rd of May 2023. 2023. So Bartica will be facing team FAPC, so that is final. I would like to also announce the moot for that finals. It is, and I quote, technology in the workplace is replacing humans. I think it's a very competitive move. I think it has arguments going for and against. So amongst the two center administrators, we will do what we do to decide who will be proposing and who will be opposing. That will be done as soon as we commence tonight's proceedings, so as to give you maximum time to develop your arguments, practice, and try to understand your speech to a point that you do not have to read. All in all, thank you all for coming out. Thank you, judges. I will be talking to you after the event. Thank you, everyone.